Hey, welcome to the Hemposium. Glad to have you here. And my name is Radical Russ Belville. I'm a multimedia talent, I guess, is what they call it these days. I'm the podcaster for Normal at the Daily Audio Stash at stash.normal.org. We produce a daily podcast, about 45 minutes worth of material, including latest headlines, the interviews with, in fact, a lot of these people have been on the podcast, interviewing some of the experts in the world here. 2 interviews a day, plus some music, so you can check that out through normal.org. I also have a talk radio show on XM satellite radio, and that's on the weekends on the Air America station out there on XM satellite, as well as cable access in Portland and the internet webpage. So a little bit of everything, radio, TV, and writing, and so on. So I'm really pleased to be able to host this panel. The panel here is going to be on marijuana in the media. And that's one of the biggest problems that we have in trying to overturn adult marijuana prohibition, is the fact that in so many venues, we're not even allowed to talk about it. You know, when you try to get your ads on a city bus or something like that, or on the evening news. We had the recent case of the Rick Steves video up here in Washington, where Rick Steves, you know, one of the politest, you know, least pot-looking people in the world, with the ACLU, and they put together this video, Marijuana a Conversation, like an infomercial, 30 minutes long, and they can't get it on the local stations. They just won't buy it because it's so-called, you know, it encourages drug use, right? We can't even talk about the issue because the media blacks us out. So I'm really glad to be on this panel and to have some great experts here on marijuana in the media. And since I don't have any prepared notes for their backgrounds, so I'll just let them introduce themselves. And we'll start here with Dominic. If you could just tell folks, you know, your media credentials and what's happening and what brings you to the panel.
All right. Hello. My name is Dominic Holden, and I'm a reporter for The Stranger. And I, among other beats, cover drugs, marijuana, and we do a lot of blogging, or on our blog, Slog. So we get some real-time feedback on what people think about drugs and drug reporting, and we also tend to hammer away at the daily papers at what we call their credulous hack reporting of marijuana issues.
Okay, and so Dominic is also with Normal, as you can see. Now, David Nott is with us here for Reason Foundation, correct?
Reason Foundation is we publish Reason Magazine, which is a libertarian monthly, the magazine of free minds and free markets. Our website for that is reason.com, and recently we've begun a video journalism project online, which is at reason.tv, and that's with Drew Carey heading those documentaries.
Next up on our panel we have Mason Tvert from Denver, Colorado, and Safer. And Mason,
I run an organization called Safer Alternative for Enjoyable Recreation, otherwise known as Safer, whose mission is to use the media to get the message out that marijuana is less harmful than alcohol and it should be treated that way.
and the next gentleman, this is my first time actually meeting him in person, but he's the regular Friday guest on the podcast for Normal, also the webmaster of celebstoner.com and former editor of High Times, is Steve Blum.
Hi there, Russ, and hello to everybody out there, or hi. Yeah, it feels very comfortable chatting here with all these members of the panel here, especially Russ, since I every Friday do an interview with him, so it feels very comfortable. My interviews with Russ focus on generally what I'm doing on my website, celebstoner.com. Since I left High Times, I started the website. I took all my information and knowledge I had from High Times and decided to pack it into a website. Kind of moving, you know, away from print media, although I am the author of this book, Pod Culture, that's out as well right now. So, but I'm moving away from magazine and newspaper-style print media into the area what is known as new media, something that Dominic just mentioned, as far as blogging and just being the first to cover news online. That's where everybody's getting their information first. And even today, who's covering Hempfest? Where's the information? How fast is it coming out? It's, of course, coming online. And pretty much there wasn't that much out there, surprisingly. Maybe it's out there. I'll have to do a little more looking tomorrow. But the Seattle Post-Intelligencer is beating everybody's butts.
So what I'd like to begin with is here, I'll just have a few questions for the media panel here that I want to help others out there, because people on previous panels have talked about how you know, you need to become the movement. And as an individual, part of how you can do that is by writing letters to the editor and so on. But when you want to take the next step and get that big media splash, if you're involved with one of your local organizations like Normal or SSDP and so on, you have to employ some creative tricks to be able to get your media message heard. And so I want to turn to Mason on this one. You guys have started that Drug Dealer Cindy campaign as one of your things, and you've had a lot of experience out there in Denver getting your message out. What are some of the roadblocks that you've run up against in trying to get big media buys, and how did you get around it?
Well, the first roadblock to media buys is money, which is why we don't buy any media. We earn media, and that's a term that's used widely as earned media coverage. So holding press conferences, rally. I'm not a big rally fan. I know I'm at a big rally right now, so it might be sacrilege. But rally's not usually a good way to get media coverage. But I'm kind of in the precarious position where my job is to to do exactly what I hate, which is to promote sensationalism and entertainment-driven news coverage. I think that that's destroying journalism, but at the same time, if we want to be covered by these journalists, we need to do the same thing. So we need to make the issue sexy, and we need to make people care about it, and more importantly, we need to reach people. And if there's a story about, you know, the stock market, or a story about a policy that's been made, or about just something, you know, monotonous or real boring, you don't really talk to your friends about it. But if there's a story about something that's crazy, that's really funny, that's really interesting, that's when you not only read about it, but you go and you tell people, hey, did you see this, and so on. And that's when things really take off. So we really try to get stories surrounding those types of very exciting or interesting or creative and funny things, so that it goes far beyond the news. Because essentially you could buy an advertisement where someone, you know 10,000 people will see it, or you can get a news story where you know 16,000 or 100,000 people will see it, or you can do something where you know not only will those 100,000 people see it, but you know they're going to talk to at least 5 people about it each, and now it spreads a lot more. So being creative is by far and away one of the most important aspects of all of this.
Okay, and a lot of, another thing that we can do also is to employ some of the resources at our disposal with regard to the internet and new media. And one of the things that I've followed with Reason is you guys doing the Reason.tv and getting Drew Carey involved with this. When you're writing for Reason and you're trying to get the marijuana message out, did you find what was most difficult about getting that message out to your readers?
Well, for me, it's less about getting a message out and more about telling a good story. And what makes for a good story? It needs to be true, it needs to be interesting, it needs to be surprising. So when we released the second video in our series with Drew Carey visiting the medical marijuana pharmacy in West Hollywood, this made news because we released the video the same week that he was announced as the host of The Price is Right. So for Middle America, the story that the host of The Price is Right, the new host of The Price is Right, is not talking about spaying and neutering your animals, but is instead talking about medical marijuana and why is it in Schedule 1 as a more dangerous substance than heroin or cocaine. That was news because that's news in Nebraska, it's news in Kansas, it's news around the country because it's a guy that they know and it's a story that will be interesting and surprising to them. So for us, it's always about taking and framing the discussion in a way that will catch interest.
Yeah.
Hey Russ, could I add something about that video? You made the video available to everybody on the internet, so it spread very fast.
Yeah.
You gave, the code away. You said, go take this. You didn't keep it to yourselves.
No, our goal is to get maximum exposure. So that video has been viewed 1.8 million times online, and distributing something for free on the internet, you can get incredible reach, independent of whether the mainstream media picks it up. But in this case, the story kept going and going. I mean, it was on E, the entertainment network. It made the Variety, which is like the LA gossip insider, inside the industry rags. It made the AP Wire. It made then the talking head shows in Washington, D.C., the weekend political type shows, and it worked its way through all of those different mediums, because what you have is all of those journalists are looking for the story to tell their audience. They're trying to entertain, and they're trying to break news, and so it's getting into that game.
Now that makes me